Sam, what is an upcoming album that you're worried about?
Reality Awaits by The Strokes, bro.
Why can't you sing about someday anymore? Auto-tune, please, fam.
What the hell is this crap? This is terrible. This is garbaggio. Does no one else in the band have any say in how the songs sound?
Hey you, how do you feel about the new Strokes singles? The Strokes are a special case. They're one of the biggest bands of the 21st century. Their 2001 debut album, Is This It?, took the music world by storm. The album, which many cite as the album that revived rock and roll, instantly brought these 21-year-olds into the spotlight. They were cool, unbothered, badass heartthrobs. What could stop them?
It seemed like everything after their debut was a fall from grace. Feeling the pressure of the music industry and from their fans, the need to perform and one-up their own music soon began to grow and loom over their work. By the time of the 2011 album Angles and the 2013 album Come Down Machine, it seemed like that was it for the band. This great video by Mark But Evil goes into detail on the dark ages of the Strokes.
But then, the Strokes were saved by the legendary, well-decorated producer, Rick Rubin. Rick helped the Strokes regroup and reorganize, and together, they made the now legendary Stick studio album, The New Abnormal.
The New Abnormal and its hit track, The Adults Are Talking, owned the music world at the time, revitalizing a once loved but failing band. This album was released in 2020, during the height of lockdown. Many of the songs reflected feelings people were having about the world at the time, so its popularity boomed.
This seems like a wonderful bookend. The hero's journey was complete. The heroes lost it all, found themselves, and they were back on top again. So what comes after the end of history?
On April 7th, 2026, we were given this ad. An AI-generated clip of an old car with a font to make it look like an old cigarette ad that would now be classified as memorabilia in that one hyper-stylized dive bar in town. This was also the announcement of their 7th studio album, Reality Awaits, along with their first single, Going Shopping.
This new sound you hear on this April 7th reminds you of a younger time. A time when new Strokes material meant new life, when there wasn't really much life to go around. However, the song was met with...
Like we're just going to let Julian do auto-tune diarrhea all over every track on this record?
mixed reviews. The criticism is against the auto-tune. Julian's vocals here on the song are heavily auto-tuned to where people were in an uproar. How could they ever try to follow up the new Abnormal? The whole source of their failure came from trying to one-up Is This It? Any attempt would likely upset fans with high expectations. It makes sense to end their career on a high note, but this time the band was different. They rediscovered what made them cool in the first place. They didn't care what anyone thought about them. So another single drops on May 13th, Falling Out of Love. There's some nice Mazzy Star-esque deep guitar strums. It's reminiscent of the end of a day at a pool during the summer. And then there's even more autotune. Despite this new sound, I think it goes deeper than the internet makes it out to be. I argued that Going Shopping is an anti-consumerist anthem and the newfound political viewpoint of the Strokes.
So we're going to listen to Going Shopping and take a look at the new music video to see what's going on here. Why have the Strokes gone this way, and what's this music video trying to say? So before we even start the video, I gotta talk about the thumbnail. We can't really make full sense of it until we watch the video, but we can point out the style it's in and what it's evoking. The font and stretched words with a red arrow and little bubbles of people are obviously satirizing clickbait thumbnail culture. You'll see these types of thumbnails from low quality videos that are churned out and really mind-numbing in their subject matter. But this thumbnail does make a good point. Is that Walton Goggins? This video starts with this great angle of the Auditorio de Tenerife in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, the capital of the island of Tenerife in the Canary Islands. I don't think this location holds too much significance, and I'll get to why in just a second. We then see Walton Goggins and go to our main location in the video. It's these two chairs that Goggins and the Strokes frontman, Julian Casablancas, sit in. They do a handshake, and this little gesture is important. It suggests friendship and a connection between these two people. We need to understand these two, not just as Julian Casablancas and Walton Goggins, but also what they represent. Julian stands for the artist, while Walton Goggins represents media or big personalities. Goggins is known as a popular personality in the acting world. He plays cowboys, revenge-seeking tough guys, and mutated bounty hunters. The through line is an outlaw, a confident and independent man. These traits are very American in these characters' badass sensibilities. He's also charismatic outside of acting, and all around is a beloved personality. Cowboy imagery is not a coincidence here. The cover for the upcoming album is a Richard Prince piece. Prince is known for his appropriation art, a common practice done by postmodern artists like himself, where he'll take an image, crop it, and change them with color to take on new meaning. He controversially took Marlboro ads and cropped them to make the Untitled Cowboy series. The whole series sparked controversy and started a conversation on authorship. Was he hurting and stealing from those artists that originally took those images? Or was he making genuine and valuable commentary by appropriating cigarette advertisements? Nonetheless, the Strokes are purposely channeling this artwork for this conversation. Thematically, these ideas align with Going Shopping, as we'll investigate. Going back to Goggins. Goggins was apparently filming a TV show in the Canary Islands, so I think the Strokes just went to him for this video. However, the location of a Spanish colony works really well here with some of the themes they work with in the song and video. We know Julian and the Strokes to be an art-driven band. They actively reject doing it for the money, and they split their earnings equally. And as we saw with their albums Angles and Come Down Machine, when the Strokes aren't in it wholeheartedly for the art, they struggle. So if Julian represents the auteur artist, I argued that Goggins represents the big media personality. In the video, when the words are about to start, Goggins starts singing. Seeing Walton Goggins lip sync and perform a Stroke song is just such a treat. But besides that silliness, what's the creative choice here? This whole dynamic in this video is an homage to the You Can Call Me Out music video by Paul Simon. Chevy Chase is to Goggins as Paul Simon is to Julian. This comparison makes better sense of Julian and Goggins now. This dynamic these two have in Going Shopping represents how I think the Strokes see the world today. The artist works very hard, all for a big media personality to take the spotlight. This media personality idea can go even further. Perhaps Goggins represents the media as a whole. The second verse is a wonderfully said read about the world today. That line is very relatable. I feel like the world is set up in a way to where if you want to be socially productive, you have to give up a lot. This line is making me consider the ways in which that is true and why that's true. At this point in the video, this delivery guy shows up. He's in a polo shirt and helmet, and this black, presumably African fellow delivers some groceries to Julian and Goggins. The Strokes here are calling upon an archetype, the immigrant delivery guy. If you're ever in New York City, you're familiar with this archetype. There are many, presumably African, delivery guys on bikes riding around. Then we get these clips of him outside of his work clothes, and he's smiling, and he looks actually alive. This moment is an attempt to humanize this archetype. It's very easy to forget that workers like this are also people too, and this scene attempts to humanize this archetype. The video seems juxtaposed to the lyrics being sung right now. The pay is low, but I gotta do something describes the reality for many working class immigrants. While they do acknowledge this, the singer also acknowledges how they are stuck in the routine of a consumer society. The singer is talking about being excited to go shopping and going to the mall, something that these workers probably aren't able to do all that often. This is a theme that we're starting to see, acknowledging one's participation in a consumer society. The Strokes employ this first-person perspective in the lyrics to get people to start singing the song and then consider themselves in the perspective of the singer. This is done so the listener can consider how they participate in consumerism. We then get the chorus, where these clown characters, the conquistador, played by guitarist Albert Hammond Jr., and the character who I can't really quite decipher what they are yet, played by bassist Nikolai Frazier, enter the scene. The conquistador is a very perfect character here, not only for the Canary Islands aspect of the video, but also for being one of the original symbols of colonization, and being the soldier for expedition for trade, which, in many ways, laid the foundation for consumerism today. There's also the first of these little slide cards we get here, which is an homage to the pre-sound movie days. At this point in time, we understand this visual language to mean what the characters are saying when we can't hear them. The Strokes are making an amalgamation independent of time here, with conquistadors, 20s iconography, a Miami Vice-style character through Walton Goggins, and contemporary archetypes. They purposely draw upon these different time periods to suggest a unity, that there's a through line with all these characters. Another one of these contemporary characters is this blatant depiction of an Amazon delivery guy, while this line is being sung. We've been expanding on our greatness. This line simultaneously makes the comparison of the ubiquity of delivery services and colonization, while also satirizing that same comparison. Today, delivery services like Amazon are the way consumerism is administered more quickly. The juxtaposition of conquistadors in this video is meant to complicate our acceptance of delivery services. The next lines of the pre-chorus go, These lines are commentary on the extent of our acceptance of consumerism. I'm not going to spell it out on YouTube, but just consider who's building ruins from the houses in the location that they mention. Our apathy and complacency in the system allows for others to have agency and power and use it to their advantage and to others' detriment. These lyrics are rather somber, while these visuals are peppy and dancy. Julian ripping open this box of trash like it's a present on Christmas morning is just a perfect metaphor for this. And this dynamic exists in this song on multiple levels. The autotune and the cheery melody seems to contrast here. However, I see it that the autotune vocals are to the lyric somberness as the melody is to the video's peppiness. I think this whole dynamic of contrasting elements is a metaphor for the problem that the Strokes are trying to identify here. Consumerism is attractive on the surface, but vain and dull in another way. It's kind of like that episode of SpongeBob with those patties filled with paste. A lot of people find the autotune in Going Shopping very rough on the ears, but I think that's intentional. There's an underlying uncomfortability packaged as something nice and attractive when it comes to consumerism. I think this whole song is a metaphor for that idea. Going Shopping is kind of hard to listen to at first, but the more you listen to it, the more you accept it and begin to like it. A lot of people online are mentioning how this song is growing on them. You find yourself complacent in what it's doing to you. That's what the Strokes want. They want you to listen to this song and consider how this is happening to you in this moment while listening, and then consider how it's happening to you with your whole life. In what ways have you turned a blind eye to something gross and learned to ignore it? That's what Going Shopping is all about. The rest of the song is dedicated to drawing comparisons to today. The conquistador takes a more businessman/yuppie costume to show how the foot soldiers for consumerism have persisted through time. The lyrics paint a dark repercussion of those so deeply ingrained into the system. The line references police officers. Okay, so I have to mention I went on Genius for this just to research, just see what they have to say. I didn't really take anything they said seriously. And for this line, this came up. And honestly, I applaud Genius for once. This was good. There's also the final line, which stands out. If you're better than me, you don't have to judge me. This line is very interesting. The way Walton Goggins snaps out of his jolliness pins down the seriousness of the line. This is the fable of the story. This is what Julian wants you to take away from the song. It's a simple way to be nice. Don't look down on people that are worse than you. But let's think about this line and its literal implications. Who's looking down on Julian and the Strokes?
Oh, no, I'm stopping it. I'm stopping it right there. It's stopping right there.
I think he's probably got to be one of their worst songs.
The autotune has turned a lot of people off, and I understand it. Autotune can be gross. But people are saying that Julian has fallen off, which is completely untrue. If you know Julian's other band, The Voids, you'll know that he uses autotune all the time. He does it pretty often on the 2018 album Virtue and the 2024 album Like All Before You. But 2 years later, we get a reminder of Julian's magnificent vocal range on the new Abnormal. The song Eternal Summer showcases an impressive falsetto by Julian, as well as his grungier and harsher voice. Julian is still as capable as ever, but he's intentionally using autotune here. We accept autotune all the time. We love Charlie XCX's Brat, an extraordinarily autotuned album. So many pop songs from the 2000s use autotune, and we accept them for their nostalgia factor today. It's very likely that you even accept Julian Casablancas' own autotune already. He uses it in the beloved Daft Punk song, Instant Crush. In the final moment of the video, all the characters join in unison. It seems through the story arc of the video that all of our characters have learned to work together and live in harmony. This is a surprisingly cheery end to the video, but oh, that seems more like it. As brutal as it is, this is a pretty fitting end for their tone. Do you think this is what the Strokes are saying will happen? Or what may happen? I have no opinion here because I think this is what the Strokes want you to ask you for yourself. where do you think reality's going? Their whole career, the Strokes have been political. Songs like New York City Cops in 2001, Whatever Happened off of Room on Fire, Machu Picchu off of Angles are all politically themed, just to name a few. The entire Voids album, Virtue, is political end to end. At their most recent Coachella, the Strokes sung Oblivious off of their 2018 EP, while flashing examples of US interventions in foreign governments. Julian himself recently gave an address at the Oxford Union, a prestigious event and platform for political debate and discussion. The Strokes have always been political. It's in their nature. And this song is a identifier for their new direction going forward.
So, what happens after the end of history? The truth is, it never ends. The Strokes could have ended it there, but they reached a lucky point in their career, one that many popular artists never get to achieve. They realized what their art and music was after they released the new Abnormal. Their art is what they want to say. And now they're doing it in a more poignant way with Reality Awaits, and thus their form changes with them. They're going to use autotune because it's what fits their art the best.
I think the reason so many people have been hating on the Strokes singles is because we're afraid of change. We as consumers of music ought to rid ourselves of this way of hating. Because artists are meant to change. Life without change is boring. And while it is comforting to have old reliable five-star music, we need to remind ourselves that while yes, music we listen to can be entertainment, it can also be art. That's what the Strokes have completely understood now, and that's what I hope they're bringing to the new album.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This was such a fun time to make. Let me know what you think, what I missed, what you agree with, or you disagree with. Yeah, I would love to just hear people's thoughts on this essay. Yeah. Thank you also to my friends Grace and Ethan for helping me make this. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Take it easy. Thank you guys so much for watching. These fucking lines. That's not good, is it? That's not good at all. Oh, dude, I totally just ripped my pants like SpongeBob. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, gonna have to fix that.